Hello everyone, this is part 2 of the software testing series. The three user-centric testing types are black box testing, white box testing, and gray box testing, all of which are fancily color-coded here. In black box testing, the user is unaware of the inner workings or the architecture of the software and is siloed to the developer only. The user just simply uses the app as any normal person. And typical practices are equivalence partition testing, boundary value testing, and decision table testing. To go over the first two practices of black box testing, in equivalence partition testing, the valid and invalid values are blocked out. So let's say if you're using a retail order app or any bodybuilding app, you're told a range of numbers that you can enter. And you had to strictly type number in that particular range, whereas any other number you write or type is invalid. Boundary value testing builds upon equivalence partition testing by testing the marginally close values to ensure the appropriate values that are close to the boundaries work out and the inappropriate values don't get processed through. Now, to go over the practice of decision table testing, in this practice, we tried different combinations of inputs and different combinations of rows to ensure that a particular output is applied as per the end user's expectations and the app developer's expectations, depending on the context at hand. So this can be a retail shopping app that you use, a random educational portal app that you use, and the list goes on and on. In white box testing, the user is made aware of the inner architecture and the workings of the software. Some practices here are unit testing, branch testing, pat testing, all the way to static analysis and dynamic analysis. To go over the first two testing types in the testing practices under white box testing, in unit testing, the individual statements or functions are tested, as mentioned in the previous lecture. Within branch testing, the number of if and else branches or conditional branches are measured against all the possible conditional branches in the whole code base. Now to go over path testing is a type of practice where all possible paths are diagrammed by a control flow graph and the cyclomatic complexity is calculated, followed by the testing of independent execution paths. At the bottom left of the slide is the formula for cyclomatic complexity, where it's the edges subtracted by the nodes and then added by a value of 2. Right next to it is a visual of how a control flow graph looks like. In a future lecture, the control flow graph concept will be explained in further detail. As far as loop testing and statement coverage are concerned, in loop testing, loop behavior is understood by pinpointing the initiation errors, infinite looping, or any other forms of potential loop-related errors. To go over statement coverage, the percentage of the executed lines out of all potential executable lines is calculated. Now the last two testing practices from the white box testing will be covered. In static analysis, the focus is on the syntax, the code styling, the code architectural design, or any potential bugs that are caught by the eye. So it's from a non-execution standpoint purely. As far as dynamic analysis is concerned, this is where code execution is mandatory and potential case scenarios are designed to identify any defects or bugs or memory overflow behavior, security issues, and any other runtime related issues. Gray box testing will be covered in a separate video due to the density of the content.